welcome back. This is our second class, and today we're going to learn things as numbers. But first of all, we are going to repeat the things that we have learned the last time together. So you can copy these rules in your notebooks if you want, but we can also just practice and try to pronounce them together. So how is this going to work? This is going to work this way. So I will show you the two letters, and then you can try to read them by yourselves. And then, in case you don't know how to read them, I will pronounce them. And if you have forgotten something, maybe, then you can pronounce them in your head again or out loud. So these two letters are our first example. Do you remember how we read these two letters? We read them as I. Here we have an example, Aya. Do you remember what Aya means? It means eggs. The next two letters? The next two letters will be read E. E, as in Z. Do you remember what Z means? Z means she. The next example is this letter. This letter is a bit more complicated, but it's not so hard, I believe. Do you remember how do we call this letter in German language? We call that letter sharp S, or in English language, sharp S. And read it as S, as in Straße. What does Straße mean? Do you remember that? Straße means street. So here we have the next three examples. Do you remember how do we call these three letters in German? We call them umlauts. So, can you tell me how are we going to read this first letter? We are going to read this letter as E. How are we going to read this letter and this letter? They are a bit different. You can look in your notebooks and see the rules that we have spoken about the last time. So you put your mouth as O and you say E and other things. You can check that in your notebooks and then we can try to pronounce them. So this letter will be pronounced as Ü, as in Übung. That means exercise. Do you remember that? The next one will be read as Ü, as in. Do you remember example for this letter? Schön. What does schön mean? That means pretty. Okay. So the next example will be these two letters. What is this example? How do you pronounce this example? Remember the word today. How do we say today in German? We say it heute. So these two letters will be read as Oi. The next two examples are not so hard, I believe. Can you tell me how you're going to read this example? It will be read as Schuppe. Schuppe. Can you give me an example for this rule? Spielen. That means to play. The next example is here. Can you tell me how we're going to read this reading rule? Schütte. Schütte. An example would be Streit. What does Streit mean? That means a fight. And now we have 5 more examples to go. How is this letter going to be read when it is on the beginning of the word and sometimes in the end, in the middle of the word? Z, as in Seite. What does Seite mean? It means page. The next letter will be this one. Can you tell me how is this letter pronounced? It will be pronounced as th, as in Zeit. What does Zeit mean? It means time. The next letter is here. How are we going to read this letter? Remember, how do we say a father on German? It is quite similar, I believe. It will be pronounced as Vater. Vater, that means father. And this letter will be read as F. F. Here we have the next example. This example, try to remember how do we say German as a German language. Deutsch. Deutsch. So, how is this example going to be read? Sch, sch, Deutsch, sch. Here we have the next two letters. How are these letters going to be read? That's not so hard to believe. Sh, sh. Can I give examples for these two letters? Remember school. How do we say school in German? Schule, Schule. Here I have written a couple of examples that we are going to read and pronounce together. You can copy them in notebooks while we talk about them. So, the first example will be here. Can you read this for me? Speise, Speise. So, here we have these two letters, Sp, and then we have I and Z. So it will be read as Speise. This word is, I believe, quite familiar right now. Can you translate this word for me? It means a dish. Okay. The next one will be here. What does this mean? Or how do we pronounce this word? Streit. Streit. And it means a fight. Do you remember that? Next word is here. How are we going to read this word? Ziemlich. Ziemlich. Maybe this word is a bit harder. So ts, e, and h at the end. Why? Why is it h at the end? Because we have this letter in front of this letter. Ziemlich. Ziemlich. That is a new word. It means very. Sehr. That means also very. But in English language, it's not so easy to tell the difference between these two words. So this is like very, very, and this is like very. It's kind of hard to translate this into English language, but when we in the next lessons you will see the difference between these two words. This means very, and which will be read as, you will try to pronounce it, sehr, sehr. Okay, how is this word going to be read? Schuppe, s, and i, spazieren. That means to have a walk or to walk. Spazieren. Okay, here we have the next example. How is this example going to be read? We have already spoken about this state. Can you tell me what state is this? This is France. So the next word will be this one. How is this going to be read? It will be read as Vogel. Vogel. Can you tell me what does this word mean? It means a bird. Here we have the next couple of words. We're going to start with this one. I will read it, and then here your assignment will be to try and to translate these words for me. Wo. Wo. What does this mean? Where. Where. What does this word mean? Wer. Who. This word? Was. What. This word? Wie. How. This word? Wessen. Whose. This word? Woher. Here we have example. Woher kommst du? From where? For example, from where do you come from? This word? Warum. It means why. And now we're going to go all these words once again, and we're going to pronounce them together. So first I say the word, and then you repeat after me. Wo, was, wie, wer, warum, woher, and wessen. Now we are going to do one more exercise, and then we are going to go to a text, and after that we will go to new part of the lesson or to learn numbers. So first of all, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then you will answer them on German, of course. So let's start. Wie geht's? What does that mean? Wie geht's? That means, how are you? Now you can try to answer me. You can say something like, mir geht's gut, mir geht's nicht so gut, ich bin gut, or ich bin schlecht. So, ich bin gut means I'm fine, ich bin schlecht means I'm bad. Wie heißt du? What does that mean? I asked you for your name. So if you answered something like ich heiße, or my Name ist, or ich bin, then you answered correctly. Next question will be, wie alt bist du? You can answer this question, like the whole question now, because you do not know how to say numbers on German language, but we're going to talk about it today. So for now, you can just skip that part and you can say something like, if you said something like, ich bin Jahre alt, you said it correctly. That means I am years old. The next question will be, wo lebst du? Wo lebst du? What does that mean? That means, where do you live? Now you can try to answer me. That means, where do you live? And you can answer something like, ich lebe in, for example, USA, America, Deutschland, Russland, Serbien, Italian, Frankreich, and other countries. Okay, and the last question will be, woher kommst du? What does that mean? That means, where do you come from? Now you can try to answer me once again. The right answer will be, ich komme aus. Ich komme aus. Once again, Frankreich, Italian, USA, Russland, and other countries. Okay, and actually I have one more question. Hast du Geschwister? Who is a Geschwister? A Geschwister is a sibling. So I ask you if you have a sister or brother. If you said something like, ja, ich habe Schwester, or ja, ich habe Bruder, or nein, you said it correctly. Now we are going to go straight to this text. You're going to see a text and you will try to learn to read it by yourselves. You will have enough time to read by yourselves, to look these rules and try to read correctly, and then we're going to read it together. Let's begin with reading the text. So, as I said, I'm going to read the first sentence after you. So you will read the first sentence first, and then I will repeat so you can check if you read it correctly. Mein Alltag. Now would be the time to read the first sentence. Mein Name ist Laura und ich bin, you can skip the year, we haven't learned this yet, Jahre alt. Now you. Ich wohne in einer kleinen Stadt
und arbeite als Verkäuferin in einem Supermarkt. Maybe this word is a bit harder. Verkäuferin. You can write it here if you have trouble with reading it. Verkäuferin. Now you can read the next sentence. Jeden Morgen stehe ich früh auf und mache mir Frühstück. Jo. Ich esse meistens Brot mit Marmelade und trinke eine Tasse Kaffee. Now you. Danach ziehe ich meine Arbeitskleidung an und gehe zur Arbeit. And once again you. Die Arbeit beginnt um 8 Uhr und endet am Nachmittag. The next paragraph. You can read it. In meiner Mittagspause esse ich meistens etwas Leichtes, wie einen Salat oder ein Sandwich. Now you can read it. Nach der Arbeit gehe ich oft spazieren oder treffe mich mit Freunden. Now you can read the next sentence. Am Abend koche ich meistens etwas Einfaches zu essen, wie Nudeln oder Reis mit Gemüse. Now you. Danach entspanne ich mich, lese ein Buch oder schaue einen Film. And the last paragraph. You can read the first sentence and then I will read it. Am Wochenende habe ich mehr Zeit für meine Hobbys. Now you. Ich gehe gerne ins Kino, mache Ausflüge in die Natur oder treffe mich mit meiner Familie. Ausflüge, this word is a bit harder because of this letter with dots. Ausflüge. And the last sentence, you can read it. Ich liebe es, Zeit mit meinen Freunden und meiner Familie zu verbringen.
So now we are going to finally begin with the numbers. This lesson will be quite interesting. So now here I have written the numbers from 1 to 7 and then I will write here also the next till 10. Then we will practice in 10 numbers and then we are going to go further. So how is it going to work? You need to copy these numbers in notebooks. But basically you don't need to copy all of them now. I will say the number 1 and read it, then you will repeat after me, and then you will copy that in your notebook. So first number will be 1. Ein. Repeat after me and copy that. Number 2 will be zwei. Number 3 will be drei. So we have ein, zwei, drei. The next number will be this one. Vier. So ein, zwei, drei, vier. The next number will be number 5. Fünf. Then we have this number. Sechs. Don't forget this reading rule. These 3 letters will be read as x. I think, yes, we had this example when we learned the reading rules. So this won't be the first time that you're hearing this word, sechs. And the last number here will be this one, 7. Sieben. Sieben. So let's repeat one more time. Ein, zwei, drei. Now you repeat after me. 4, 5, 6, 7. And now you say them. Here are the other numbers. So we will continue. 8, 8. Repeat after me. 8. The next number will be this one. 9, 9. Here we have these two letters, as in heute, which means today. So these two letters will be read as oi and neun. And the last number here, 10, 10. Here we have this number at the beginning of the word, and that's why it will be read as ц, and this letter won't be read because it's in the middle without letter C in front of it. 10. And here I have written this number, 0. It will be read as null, null. Let's repeat one more time. So, 8, 9, 10, and null. So here I have written 3 random numbers that we are going to try and to read. So the first one will be a bit harder because it's your first time to do this and we have just learned these numbers. So maybe you can pause the video and go through these numbers once again just to practice them. And now we will continue. So the first random number is this one. I will give you a few seconds to try to read the first number and then I will say it. So, null. Now you. Sechs. Now you. Fünf. Zwei. Zwei. When a number is a double, we say it in German Doppelzwei, as in doubled two. 8. 9. 1. 2. And now we will continue with the next number, with the second number. So here we're going to repeat what you've just done together. You will be the first one to say the number, and then I will repeat after you, and that's how you can check if you've done it correctly. 3, 6, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, 7, 8. Once again, faster. 3, 6, 1, 2, 2, Doppelzwei, 1, 0, 7, 8. And the last number will be written here. Once again, I will give you a few seconds to try to read it on your own. And now we'll read it together. You can say the first number and then I'll repeat after you. 4, 7, 2, 5, 5, 9, 1, 7, 4. Now we are going to learn the numbers from 10 to 15. So the first two numbers are going to be a bit harder because there is no logic. So number 11 will be read as elf. Repeat after me, elf. Number 12 will be read as 12. 12. You can try to repeat that after me and then copy that in your notebooks. Elf, 12. once you copy that in your notebook. Now comes the easier part. So numbers from 13 to 19, which is not yet written here, but it will be later once we finish this. So these numbers are going to be read as, for example, 13. It will be read as drei, because that's number 3. And we're going to add 10, which means 10. So basically, it will be read as 13, which means so 3 and 10. 13. And then when you realize how you can build these numbers, it won't be so hard. So for example, 14 will be read 14. So number 4 and 10. 14. And 15, also not hard when we know this logic. 5 plus 10. 15. So let's recap once more. So 11 and 12 are separate numbers, and then here we just add, for example, 3, 4 or 5. Here we add 10. So 13, 14, 15. Repeat after me. 15. Here we have the rest of the numbers till 18. So, as we learned so far, this logic is not so hard to realize and understand. We just add, for example, 5, 6, 7 to 10, and then we build numbers like that. But here we have two exceptions. Why are these numbers exceptions? Because 16, we would say with this logic, 16. That is written here, yes, but we don't have an S here. So that's why this is very important to understand. This is said 16, but without S. And with 6, we have 6. We have this S at the end of the number. The next number will be also exception. Here I have put this star. You can do it too. So we would normally say this number as 7, which means 7, and 10, 10. 7, 10. But this is very hard to pronounce, and that's why it is not correctly. We will say this number as 17, 17. So without this N. 17. And the last number here is not an exception. It will be read as 18. That's not so hard, I believe. Now you can repeat after me. 16, 16, 17, not 17, 17, and the last one, 18. Copy this in your notebooks too. 16, 17, and 18. Now we're going to learn the numbers that are written here, the rest of them. This number is not so hard to read, 19. You can try to read it by yourself. 19. 19. Repeat after me. It will be read as 19. This number will be read as 20. 20. So from now to further, it is very important to realize that in German language, it is not the same as in other languages. So 21 will not be read as 20 and number 1. It will be read the other way around. So we will say first the number 1 and then 20. This will sound something like ein und means and, ein und 20. So basically, this very long word means 1 and 20. So remember that. It's very important to remember. In German, this is the other way around. This will be read as 21. Repeat after me. 21. And this number here will be read as 22. 22. We are going to repeat everything once again. 19, 20, 21, 22. Now I will write on the table, so numbers till 25. But before then, you can try and do that in your notebooks. You can try and write down the numbers, so 23, 24, and 25 in your notebooks. It's not so hard as it seems. And then I will write on the table and we will check it out together. I hope you have tried to write those words on your own. And now we're going to check that. So 23 will be read as 23. So once again, I repeat, it's not 23, it's 23. The next number will be 24. It will be read as 24. 24. And the last number for today will be read as 25. So 25. And now you can pause the video to try and to pronounce these numbers once again by yourself and to see the logic for learning these numbers, all of them. And now we will do not an exercise that's not so hard, I believe, but maybe it will be hard at the beginning. Now we will check and to see if you have done this assignment correctly. So we need to say, for example, this word is here, or this word is written here. That is our assignment. So the first word, zwei. What does that mean? Zwei. Which number is that? We are going to connect zwei with, now you can try to say your solution, with this one. The next one is 13. What number is that? We are going to connect 13 with number 3. Or 13, but 3 is only so third number here. 14. Which number is that? That's number 14. We are going to connect 14 with this one here. 5. Which number is that? We are going to connect 5 with this number here. And the last number, 0. We are going to connect 0 with 0 here. I hope this wasn't too hard for you.